Are you or your business spending a lot of money on Microsoft software? Have you ever thought you might be spending too much? Well, you've come to the right place. This week on Licensing Lab, we'll take a look at the different agreement types that Microsoft makes available to its customers. Whether your goal is to consolidate licensing under one agreement for easier management, or to get the absolute best price per product by breaking it out into different agreement types that best suit that particular product, well, we'll cover that today. Today's going to be the 100 level course. Down the line, we're going to do deeper dives into each of these agreement types so we can get into the nitty-gritty details. Of course, if there's anything that we missed today, let us know so that we can make sure to include that in those later videos. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk about the various options that Microsoft makes available when licensing their products. The four most common ways of buying Microsoft software are direct on Microsoft.com, working with a channel partner for cloud solution provider licensing, MPSA, or Microsoft Product and Services Agreement, and finally, an Enterprise Agreement, or the EA. All of these have their own strengths and benefits and weaknesses, and we'll touch up on the highlights of each one in the rest of this video. So, top of the list, nice and easy, Microsoft.com. Go to the website, type in the product you want, add it to your cart, put in your credit card, and you're off to the races. You can start using the software almost immediately. This is the quickest and easiest way to buy Microsoft software, but it doesn't offer any discounts and doesn't have any flexibility in terms of enterprise management tools or even financing options like issuing a PO. If you know me, you know I moonlight as the technology guy at my dad's company. His company's really small, so they only need a couple Microsoft licenses. So for that particular case, we just go to Microsoft.com, put in a company credit card, and buy the licenses that way. Next, let's talk about CSP, or Cloud Solution Provider Program. The latest iteration of license transactions on a CSP program, Microsoft is referring to as the new commerce experience. So if you see NCE or CSP, you know that you're talking about this type of licensing program. The licenses are transacted through a cloud solution provider or channel partner who also provides support around the licenses that you purchase. This is actually a requirement of Microsoft with the intent of providing an overall better customer experience. When you get support through your partner via a CSP program, that partner will respond to any tickets or issues that you have with the software. If something needs to be escalated and someone from Microsoft directly needs to be engaged, that partner has the bat phone, let's say, directly to Microsoft so we can get directly to the higher tiered levels of service without having to go through the same steps that you probably already did on your own or with your partner prior to troubleshooting. CSP programs also provide a bit of a discount, but require some level of commitment. So it's best suited for companies between 25 and 2,500 employees. Because the main focus of CSP is subscription licensing, you do have a couple options in terms of flexibility when buying and paying for your licenses. You can go month to month, pay the bill based on what you've used in that month or what your needs are, and adjust those quantities every month. But you can also commit to a year at a time, which will save you 20% on the licensing cost. So you want to take a look at that. Do you want to commit yearly, or is monthly better suited for you? If you have seasonal workers, for example, monthly might be worth the 20% uplift. But if you have the same number of workers, more or less, year-round, you can save that 20%, and you can actually still pay monthly. You just can't adjust your quantities until your anniversary date at the end of that first year. There's also no long-term lock-in, so while you're not locked in for multiple years, you also are subject to price increases as they happen. If you have an annual subscription on a CSP yearly, and you need to add a couple licenses, it'll prorate those licenses to the end of that year. But if you need to remove licenses, you can't do that until the end of that year. So there is some flexibility, but only in favor of Microsoft where there's increased quantities. Also, I need to reiterate, your partner's going to be able to help you with all this. We're just giving you some general knowledge about CSP, but in terms of what you should do in your particular case, it's best to ask your partner, and they should be able to take a look at what you have, what your needs are, and give you some pretty good advice. You also might be aware of something called software assurance. That doesn't exist at all in this CSP program, mostly because this is catered to subscription licensing. Finally, I want to add a couple caveats. You can buy non-subscription licensing through CSP, but it's not the best avenue to do so. There's other programs that we'll talk about in a minute that are best suited for on-premise or perpetual licenses. Okay, so we talked about CSP. Well, the next two agreement types that I'm going to be talking about actually require an LSP, or a licensing solution provider. What this means is this requires a partner who has a specialization in licensing for large organizations. While there are a lot of CSP partners out there, there are much fewer LSPs out there. MPSA stands for the Microsoft Product and Services Agreement. It's one of the best ways of buying perpetual software and on-premises software. The MPSA agreement does allow you to purchase cloud products, but it's not the best vehicle for that. CSP is much better suited most of the time to purchasing cloud subscriptions. And what's nice about MPSA is that you can get more discounts over time. It kind of works like a loyalty program. Each product that you buy through MPSA has a certain amount of points. Once you reach a certain point level, you get to the next discount level. Then you get better pricing. Because a lot of the purchases made through MPSA are perpetually licensed products or on-premises solutions, software assurance is an option. Now, while software assurance does provide upgrades and support, it's worth noting that there's only two options for SA. So what that means is when you buy the license, you can either choose to just buy the perpetual license on its own, or if you buy it with SA, you're signing up for 3 years all at once. Now, that's to say, you can annualize those payments if you are going with the 3-year SA option. So you'll notice that if you buy LNSA, or License and Software Assurance, the price is almost double of the license alone. But because you're getting 36 months of software assurance, Microsoft also allows you to annualize those payments. So over the course of those 3 years, you can pay for 1/3 of that price annually. It might be worth making a whole other video on the software assurance benefits down the road. And finally, there's the big one, the Enterprise Agreement, or the EA for short. The EA provides the biggest potential discounts and also the opportunity to create custom terms in the agreement. But it also comes with a lot of commitment to Microsoft. The minimum number of licenses you can buy for, let's say, Office or Microsoft 365 is 500. So that's our big commitment right there. But you might be thinking, hey, Wes, didn't you say CSP was better for 25 to 2,500 employees? Well, yes. And the reason that I said that is because the EA has discount levels. And the entry-level discount, or level A, is similar pricing to the CSP. So when you look at an EA versus a CSP, and the pricing is similar, the extra requirements of the EA make it seem a bit cumbersome, making, for some people, CSP the right choice. Once you reach level B, C, and D, which are at the 2,500, 6,000, and 15,000 levels, the discounts get pretty steep, and it makes the most sense to buy on an EA if you can commit. Speaking of commitments, what are the other commitments that I need if I'm going to look at an EA? Well, the minimum term is 3 years. So, for example, a CSP is 1 year at a time, and you can even pay monthly. An enterprise agreement requires annual payments, but a 3-year commitment as a minimum. If you're buying perpetual license through an EA, it requires software assurance. But probably the biggest commitment required for an EA is what they refer to as the enterprise commitment. This means that you have to cover your entire enterprise with this Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. So let's say you've got 5,000 employees that all need email, but 1,000 of them prefer Gmail, and so they buy their own G Suite licenses. Under an EA, you need to buy all 5,000 licenses of Microsoft Office, even though 1,000 of them are using a different email client. Another great benefit of the EA is the true-up model. This allows you to go all year round, deploying software as needed without worrying about the commercials. Once your anniversary comes up, you go through what's called a true-up process. This is where you take a look at how much more software you're using than you were last year, and you pay for just the difference. Of course, you need to make your annual payment as well. But what this does is it allows you to operate as normal for most of the year without having to cut a new PO every time someone needs new software. You're able to just provision it as needed. Now, there's a lot of benefits to the EA, and some of the requirements can be skirted one way or another. Don't worry, I'm not talking about anything shady. But we're getting in the nitty-gritty there, so let's cover that in a later video. Right now, I just wanted to give you an overview of what the EA is all about. So there you have it, our Microsoft Licensing Agreement 101. In summary, Microsoft.com is quick and easy, but doesn't offer any discounts or custom terms. CSP is excellent for cloud subscriptions and also has built-in support through your cloud solution provider. MPSA is perfect for on-premises or perpetually licensed product and also gives you discounts like a points reward system that gives you more discounts over time. And then the EA is for large organizations who want to leverage the latest and greatest Microsoft technology and deploy it through their entire business. It also comes with some bells and whistles that make it easier to buy and manage your licenses. We're looking forward to making deep dive videos into each of these agreement types in the future. So if you have anything you want us to include in those, let us know. Send a message or leave a comment. We appreciate every single view, like, or comment. So thanks again. We appreciate you. See you in the next one.